We're here at the Lodge in Sandy today, headquarters of the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. This has been their home now for the last 50 years, so we've come along to find out what they're getting up to for the celebrations this year. So it's the 50th anniversary of the RSPB being at the Lodge in Sandy this year. What's going on to celebrate that?
Well, we've got quite a few events going on. I think two of the biggest ones this summer. One is that we have a weekend called Time Explorers, because we don't just have an ancient building here, we've got something much, much older. We've got an Iron Age fort that's 2,500 years old. And this area was important in the Second World War. So people can come and find out a bit about the history of the site. And that will be at the beginning of July. And then in August, we've got some open-air theatre. We've got 6 performances of the Canterbury Tales with a garden setting.
That sounds fantastic. So it's not just the birds, it's history, it's a bit of culture as well.
Well, I think in summer the birds quieten down a bit and people look at other things. They look at the gardens, they look at the butterflies, the dragonflies. If you're interested in wildlife, if you're interested in the outdoors, it's a good place to come.
And of course, speaking of other things, the house itself, you've been here 50 years, it's a bit older than that, and it has quite a history as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It was built for the son of Prime Minister Robert Peel, and he himself was Speaker of the House of Commons, and it's a fantastic building. It's built in what's called a Tudor style, so it actually looks older than it is, but it was 1870, and it cost £20,000 to make.
And it has a bell tower as well. So like a lot of old buildings, the Lodge has crests above the front door to indicate who built the building. I believe one of them at least belongs to a very famous figure in British history.
Yeah, and if you can see on the crest here, you can see the picture of a bee, and the bee is the emblem of the Peel family. Robert Peel, the Prime Minister, that was his family emblem that symbolised industry. And this crest shows the marriage of Peel with Florence Dugdale. So you've got 2 family crests interweaving.
And I believe he did more than just put stone bees on the house.
Yes, he did. Around the side here, you can see bee holes that were specifically put into the building to attract bees to nest in them. The bees had other ideas, and they actually nest in a grill a little bit further away, just there.
We're at the back of the house now, in the gardens, which are really very well established. And there's this marvellous pond here that I believe has a bit of history as well.
Well, it looks like a pond, but once upon a time it was a swimming pool. And it was built by one of the later occupants of the house, Malcolm Stewart, who was chairman of the London Brick Company. And it's quite deep as well. It's about 15 foot deep.
So you said London Brick Company. Presumably, was he here just because he liked the area, or did he have business interests here?
No, he liked the area. He lived in Park Lane in London, and this was his weekend home. And he would swim a few lengths of the pool every morning as he got up.
Right. And the gardens themselves, was he responsible for those, or just for the swimming pool?
Yes, he was. I mean, the Peel family laid out fairly conventional and fairly plain gardens. When he moved in here in 1935, he brought 35 gardeners to transform it. So it's a very Italianate looking garden now. But today, the pond, if you like, represents a kind of fusion of wildlife and landscape, because it's a wildlife pond now. There are ducks breeding on the little platforms there, and moorhens, and there are dragonflies zooming around in summer.
And what do people get for joining the RSPB?
Well, they get access to more than 100 nature reserves all over the country. They get an award-winning magazine 4 times a year, and also they get the knowledge that they're helping to look after wildlife. That can't be bad.
Can't be bad at all. Derek Nyman, thank you very much. I've been Henry Harding for Local News TV.